one thing we can't escape, that we know for sure exists, is consciousness. We all have it, but what is it?
Who are you?
Are you sure? What if everything you believe about yourself is a lie? Think about it. Right now, you feel like you, an individual, a thinking being with a past, a future, and a mind that belongs to you. But what if it doesn't? What if your sense of self, your personality, your memories, your identity is nothing more than a hallucination? A carefully designed illusion that your brain creates every second, not to show you the truth, but to hide it from you. Because here's the terrifying part. Modern neuroscience, quantum physics, and even ancient philosophy all point toward one unsettling conclusion. You are not who you think you are. Who are you? Right now, you probably think that's an easy question to answer. You have a name, a body, past, a collection of memories that seem to tell the story of you. But let me ask you something terrifying. What if none of that is real? What if your entire identity, your sense of self, is not something you have, but something your brain is tricking you into believing? And here's where things get unsettling. For centuries, scientists, philosophers, and mystics have tried to pinpoint the location of the self, the one place in your brain where you exist. And they found nothing. Your mind feels like a single entity, a unified, conscious you. But that's not how your brain works. In reality, your brain is a collection of separate systems, each processing different aspects of your experience. One part of your brain sees, another part feels emotions, another part makes decisions. But none of these parts are truly you. And here's where it gets even stranger. Are you even in control? Scientists have discovered something terrifying about decision-making. They placed people in brain scanners and asked them to press a button whenever they felt like it. Seems simple, right? But here's what happened. 7 seconds before the person was even aware they were about to press the button, their brain had already made the decision. Think about what this means. You believe you're making choices, that you're in control of your actions. But in reality, your brain is deciding things for you, before you even know it. And then, your mind steps in after the fact and tells you a story about why you chose something, making it feel like it was your decision all along. But it wasn't. You were just watching it happen. So if you're not the one making choices, then who is? Inside your skull, there are two separate minds. One in the left hemisphere, one in the right. They work together so seamlessly that you don't even realize it. But when doctors sever the connection between them, which has been done in extreme medical cases, something bizarre happens. Suddenly, the left side of the brain and the right side start acting like two completely different people. One side will pick up an object, while the other side tries to put it down. One side will laugh, while the other feels nothing. There have even been cases where one half of the brain believes in God, and the other half doesn't. So which side is the real you? The truth is, your sense of self is not a single thing. It's a collection of different processes, and sometimes they completely contradict each other. So if there is no single unified self inside your brain, then who or what are you? What if your entire identity is nothing more than a hallucination created by your brain? This is what modern neuroscience suggests. Your memories, they can be altered. Your preferences, they can be manipulated. Your decisions, they happen before you even realize it. What you think of as yourself is just a narrative, a constantly shifting story that your brain tells you to make sense of something far more complex. And here's the most disturbing part. There are people walking among us right now who have lost their sense of self entirely. Their There is a rare neurological condition called Cotard's delusion, a disorder where people stop believing that they exist. They will look in the mirror and see their reflection, but they will say, "That is not me." Some even refuse to eat, believing they are already dead. Think about that. Their brain is still functioning, their memories are intact, but their sense of self is gone. If the self was a real physical thing, how could it just disappear? Could it be that the self was never real to begin with? If your memories, thoughts, and personality can all be altered or erased, then what is left? Could it be that consciousness is not something inside you, but something much larger, something you are simply experiencing? Some scientists believe that consciousness is not created by the brain at all, that it is something fundamental to the universe, just like space, time, and energy. And if that's true, then you are not your brain. You are not your thoughts. You are something far more mysterious. And your true nature might be something we are only just beginning to understand. So I ask you one last time, who are you? Consciousness is the only thing you have ever truly known. You experience the world through it. Every sound, every thought, every emotion, all of it happens inside your awareness. And yet, science cannot explain what it is. Despite all our technological advancements, the nature of consciousness remains a mystery. Where does it come from? Why do we experience reality the way we do? And most importantly, what does it mean for who we are? To understand the full implications of this, we must journey into the depths of neuroscience, philosophy, and the unknown. But be warned, what you're about to discover may change the way you see reality forever. The brain's biggest mystery. At first glance, it seems obvious. Consciousness comes from the brain. After all, if you damage certain parts of the brain, your personality can change. A head injury can erase memories, alter emotions, or even shift your entire sense of identity. So, isn't it clear that the brain creates consciousness? Not exactly. The truth is, we have never actually found consciousness inside the brain. Neuroscience can explain how brain activity correlates with experiences, but it cannot explain how electrical signals in gray matter give rise to subjective experience. For example, your brain can process wavelengths of light, but why do you see color? It can analyze sound frequencies, but why do you hear music? This is what philosophers call the hard problem of consciousness. While science can describe what happens in the brain, it cannot explain why you feel like a self-aware being living inside your own mind. And that brings us to a terrifying realization. If science cannot explain what you are, then do you even exist in the way you think you do? The philosophical paradoxes of consciousness. The nature of consciousness has been debated for centuries. Some of the greatest thinkers in history have attempted to explain it, only to fall into paradox after paradox. Let's look at 3 of the most unsettling theories. The most widely accepted scientific theory is materialism, the idea that consciousness is just a byproduct of brain activity. According to this view, the moment your brain dies, you cease to exist. But this raises a disturbing question. If your thoughts, emotions, and experiences are just electrical impulses, then who or what is actually experiencing them? If consciousness is just an illusion, who is the one being fooled? No matter how deeply we study the brain, we never seem to find the thing that is aware. And that's where materialism starts to break down. Some scientists and philosophers believe the opposite, that consciousness is not created by the brain. It is a fundamental part of the universe itself. This theory, called panpsychism, suggests that everything, from atoms to galaxies, possesses some form of consciousness. If this is true, then the brain does not produce awareness. It tunes into it, Just like a radio doesn't create music but merely receives signals, your brain may be a receiver for a much greater field of consciousness. But if that's the case, who or what is broadcasting the signal? And could it mean that your consciousness is part of something far greater, something beyond your individual identity? One of the strangest theories proposes that the universe itself is conscious. Some physicists believe that reality behaves as if it is being observed, an idea supported by quantum experiments where particles act differently when they are watched. This raises a disturbing possibility. What if the universe is not just a vast collection of matter, but a self-aware system experiencing itself through us? What if you are not an individual at all, but a localized perspective of a single, vast consciousness that spans all of existence? And if this is true, then who or what is the true observer behind your eyes? The unknown. Are you just a passenger? We are left with an unsettling paradox. Science cannot explain consciousness. Philosophy cannot define it. And neuroscience suggests that you are not who you think you are. So, what does this mean? Are you simply an observer trapped in a body you do not control? Or is consciousness something far greater than science can comprehend? And if it is, then what are you really? The answers lie ahead. But be warned, what you are about to discover may challenge everything you thought you knew about reality itself. Look around you. Everything you see, your hands, the sky, the screen in front of you, feels real. But what if none of it is? What if the world you live in is not the real world at all? Some of the greatest minds in science and philosophy have proposed something terrifying, that our reality is nothing more than a sophisticated illusion, a simulation running on an unfathomably advanced system. And if that's true, then who or what created it? And more importantly, why are you here? The simulation hypothesis. Is reality just code? The idea that our world is a simulation was once the stuff of science fiction, but today many scientists and philosophers believe it could be true. The argument is simple. 1. Computing power is increasing exponentially. 2. Advanced civilizations could, theoretically, create entire simulated universes. 3. If this is possible, then it is statistically more likely that we are living in one of these simulated worlds, rather than the original reality. Elon Musk has famously stated that there is a near 100% chance that we are in a simulation. And even stranger, some physicists claim they have found evidence of computer-like patterns in the fabric of our universe. For example, some fundamental constants of physics, such as the speed of light and the strength of gravity, appear to be coded with extreme precision, as if programmed. If this is true, then what is running the simulation? And if this world is not the real world, then what happens when we die? The existential paradoxes that break reality. If reality is a simulation, it leads to some terrifying paradoxes. If you've ever played a video game, you know that not all characters are real players. Some are non-player characters, artificial entities following scripted routines. Now ask yourself, how do you know the people around you aren't NPCs? Some philosophers suggest that only a small number of individuals in this world are real, while the rest are merely part of the simulation's code. This would explain why some people seem eerily robotic, going through life on autopilot, following patterns without deep awareness. But if this is true, are you an NPC? And if not, why were you chosen to be conscious? If you are in a simulation, then your entire past could be fabricated. Your childhood, your memories, even your family history could have been generated the moment you became self-aware. How do you know the past even existed before this moment? Think about it. You only know the past because you remember it. But memories can be false. If reality is a simulation, then your memories may have been programmed in, giving you the illusion of a past that never really happened. And if that's true, when did your life actually begin? Quantum physics has revealed something deeply unsettling. Particles behave differently when they are observed. This suggests that reality itself may not be rendered unless it is being perceived. Much like a video game where landscapes are only generated when a player looks at them. The universe may only exist when someone is there to observe it. But if that's true, what happens when you close your eyes? Does the world disappear? And if it does, then who is really controlling the simulation? The ultimate question: why are we here? If we are in a simulation, the most chilling question is why? Are we part of a test? Are we entertainment for some higher intelligence? Or is this simulation designed to keep us from seeing something even more disturbing? Philosophers have long suggested that reality may be a prison for consciousness, a fabricated world designed to trap our awareness. If this is true, then what happens when we break free? And more importantly, how do we escape? If everything you thought you knew about yourself is an illusion, then who are you? For your entire life, you've believed in a story that says you were born on a certain day. You have a personal history that defines you. Your thoughts and emotions belong to you. And when you die, your existence ends. But what if none of that is true? What if your sense of self is not only incomplete, but entirely fabricated? And if that's the case, then what happens next? The shattered identity. Most people never question the nature of their identity. They live their lives under the assumption that their consciousness, their awareness of being alive, is unique to them. But neuroscience has exposed something unsettling. The self is not stable. It is constantly changing, fragmented, and in many ways artificial. Let's explore some of the most terrifying ways in which your identity is not what you think it is. In the 20th century, doctors performed a radical procedure on patients suffering from severe epilepsy. They cut the connection between the two hemispheres of the brain. The results were horrifying. Each hemisphere began acting independently. One hand would button up a shirt, while the other unbuttoned it. One hemisphere could speak, while the other was mute but still fully aware. In some cases, one side of the brain believed in God, while the other side did not. This raises a disturbing question. How many versions of you exist inside your own mind? If one surgical cut can split your identity in two, were you ever truly one person to begin with? Some individuals with dissociative identity disorder display multiple distinct personalities, each with separate memories, behaviors, and even different physical traits. One identity may have a severe allergy, while another identity inhabiting the same body shows no reaction at all. This means that the body's biological responses change based on which self is in control. So, if your body can house multiple selves, then which one is the real you? And more importantly, what if you aren't the only consciousness inside your mind right now? If your identity is an illusion, then what happens to it when you die? Science tells us that when the brain shuts down, awareness ceases. But throughout history, there have been thousands of accounts of near-death experiences, stories of individuals who, after being declared clinically dead, return with memories of something beyond. Some report floating outside their bodies, watching doctors work on them. Others describe entering a vast, timeless space where they were no longer an individual, but part of something infinite. And some even claim to have lived entire lifetimes in the span of a few minutes, only to awaken back in their bodies, forever changed. Could it be that your sense of self is only temporary, a mask worn by something much greater? And if so, what happens when the mask comes off? If the self is an illusion? If consciousness is something beyond the physical brain? If we are in a simulation, or part of a vast universal mind, then what does that mean for you? It means that you are not what you think you are. You are not just a name, a body, or a collection of memories. You are not confined to a single identity. You are something deeper, something beyond definition, and that is both terrifying and freeing. Because if you are not who you thought you were, then maybe, just maybe, you can become anything. The question now is, what do you do with this knowledge? Do you go back to your ordinary life, pretending none of this matters? Or do you begin to see reality for what it truly is? Because once you glimpse the truth, there's no turning back. You will start to notice the patterns. You will question your own thoughts. You will wonder, am I truly awake? Or am I just another character in the illusion? But one thing is certain. You are standing at the edge of something vast and unknown, and the journey to discovering what you really are has only just begun.